108 David Andsunim, the Korean nun. David was a 10-year-old boy who lived on Lonsdale Avenue in Finsbury Park, North London. There was a big Zen monastery right down the road where he lived, and many people went there to learn how to meditate and chant. David would sit by his window and look at passersby. One day he saw a strange lady who wore grey-colored robes with a hat on her head. She was bald. She was bending down and carefully picking something up from the ground. He did not know what to make of her. He became very curious and quickly ran up to his mum and said, "Look, Mummy, there's a strange lady doing something outside." His mum, Anne, saw the nun and said, "That's Sunim, the Korean nun who lives down the road. Can I please go and speak to her, Mum? I won't be long." Anne nodded, but said not to go wandering away beyond her sight. He quickly ran up to Sunim. "Hi. I'm David and I live in number 22. I saw you from my window. Are you looking for something?" Sunim looked up at him and smiled. "Nice to meet you, David. I dropped a large box of pins while I was walking, so I'm trying to find them all and put them back in the box. Can I help?" "Sure you can, but you have to look very carefully because the pins are tiny and difficult to see." 32. David immediately started collecting the pins from the ground and realized it was a tiresome task and became very impatient. He said, "You know it may take us a long time to find all the pins. Can't you just buy new ones?" Sunim raised her head and smiled at him. "I know it's easy to walk up to the shop and buy new pins. But I have learned from many years of meditation that shortcuts can help you achieve things quickly, but they won't teach you how to appreciate the valuable lessons you learn. Also, it is not wise to leave these pins on the ground as someone might get hurt." He was puzzled and surprised. He had never heard anyone say something like this before. How is it possible to learn valuable lessons and appreciate things from picking up pins from the ground? Well, it requires a lot of attention and patience. Why don't you try and tell me what you learn? David wondered if he should just let Sunim get on with this tedious task, or keep her company. He decided he would carry on collecting the pins. Is there anything to learn from this? It is so boring, he thought to himself. As he picked 1, 2, 3. It became increasingly tiresome. But he remembered the words attention, patience, and appreciation. Sunim looked so calm and relaxed, and she was singing too. So, David started humming a tune of one of his favorite songs. QYB. EST. Every few minutes, David would ask Sunim how many pins she had found, and she would show him her collection. He would then show her his, and both would continue. He continued, tossing along, and sometimes he stopped and asked Sunim questions. Do all Koreans meditate? He asked. No, they don't. She smiled. My mum said you're a nun and you live in the monastery. Don't you miss your parents and your home? Yes, I am a nun and I live in the Zen monastery down the road. I was 12 years old when I decided to become a nun. In the beginning, I missed my family, friends, uncles and aunties. But soon I made new friends in the monastery and missed home much less. My parents also used to visit me on the weekends. The temple was so quiet and peaceful, and I got used to living there and meditating for many hours every day. One day I went home to visit my family. The first few days I really enjoyed myself. Everyone showered me with love and attention because they were seeing me after so many years. But slowly everybody became busy with their own things and I was left alone. A lot had changed from the time I left home. My sister had grown up and went to college. My parents were older and so many other things had changed. I missed the monastery and realized my true home was where my heart is, and that was in the temple. She smiled at David. David listened to her and looked at her with his mouth hanging open. He was learning so many new things in such a short span of time. What is meditation? He asked curiously. Meditation is like an art. Just like when you paint, you focus your mind on the drawing and the colors, and you become aware of whether the line is straight or crooked, if the color is too dark or light. Meditation is focusing your mind on an object and being able to concentrate without any distraction. What is your hobby, David? Ugh. I play the piano. So, does that mean picking up these pins from the ground is also mediation? Asked David. 33. If you train your mind properly, it can be used in every situation. Just like when you first learn to play the piano, you need to learn how to sit properly, place your hands on the keyboard, learn different notes and chords, and which I chord makes the sound you want to hear. When you meditate, you need to learn how to sit cross-legged on a cushion, breathe and follow instructions. Then, you learn to look at your own mind and notice your thoughts and feelings. All things good or bad, happy or sad, joyful and boring are like the clouds in the sky, they come and go. So, when you spend a long time training your mind like this, you learn not to hold on to anything tightly. Just like how you swiftly touch your fingers on the keyboard, pressing the right note at the right time, neither too hard nor too soft. You can apply this to anything, like picking up these pins from the ground or doing your homework. It was a lot of information to take in, but David was enjoying their conversation. However, he was beginning to feel a little tired, so he did not ask her any more questions and instead silently reflected on her words and continued to collect the pins. At the end of their search, they both looked inside the box and were overjoyed at how many pins they had collected. Not all, but enough to nearly fill the box. Sunim thanked David for his help. He looked at her cheerfully and said, "Thank you, Sunim, you have taught me so many things today. I really appreciate it. Can I please come to your monastery and learn how to meditate? My mum says I need to be patient, and I think I can learn that from you." "You are most welcome to come anytime, David." Sunim hugged him. "It's time for supper, David," his mum called from the door. He said goodbye to Sunim and told her he would visit her on Saturday. He ran inside the house and told Anne what had happened. She was delighted to hear his story. At the end of supper, he said, "Thank you, Mum, for this wonderful meal. I really appreciate it." Anne smiled, "You're welcome, son," and kissed him on the forehead. Jd Ik. Lai, Ik. Ang.